Hey guys, as many of you might have known, but we're getting Rosa. So for those of you that who knew about like how the event was gonna play out, like we know we're gonna get Phantom and then W, but apparently, like this is my speculation, but I think Yosa's trying to delay W banner and chapter 7 till like maybe closer to like Christmas or even first anniversary or New Year, somewhere along those lines. And then there's stuffing like newer events, like later events up to now. And here we have Rosa. So as usual, today I want to talk about like, should you pull Rosa? And for a short answer, I would actually recommend don't. Don't pull Rosa right now. And I shall explain why. So as usual, we shall go through how Rosa works. Poca, Rosa, either way it's fine, right? So she is a sniper with 24 cost at E2. So that is pretty hefty cost for a single target sniper. You can think of her as more like, well, she's very special, right? So she targets highest weight enemy. So let's say if you have a boss that is lighter weight and then there's like just heavier weight enemies, she might not even target the boss. You'll just hit the heavier enemies in that case. She is crowd control. We can talk about that in her skill 3. Her stats looks fine. It's like 2000 damage maxed out with 2.4 seconds attack interval. The only reason I really don't want to recommend her is because of her attack range though. As you can see, you place her in the tower and the row in front of her she cannot hit. For some reason, she just can't hit that row. Instead, she hits this weird area in front of that row. So when you use like your traditional snipers, Rosa will feel really awkward to place. That's the first thing. If you're like, okay, I can adapt to this. The second thing is that how you want to use her. All right, let's look at her skills. Skill 1, increased attack, very normal, nothing too special. Skill 2 is considered pretty good, I must say. Attack plus 90%, that will pretty much give her almost 2000 attack and attacks an additional target. So usually the heavier enemies are the enemies with the highest defense at the same time. So 2000 attack and hitting 2 of the heaviest targets at once. Also, when attacking enemies with weight over or equal to 3, she can ignore 40% of their defense or 60% at E2. This seems very nice, right? You're like, oh, okay, she's like an anti-armor kind of sniper. But if you want to use that use case, like if we want to be like anti-heavy armor, you can use Swartz. You can use Province. I'm not saying which one is better. I'm just saying you already have someone as that role. Also, you have casters, right? So I don't really think that she's like not irreplaceable. Maybe her ranges, but like her attacking ability isn't that special. And she's not supposed to be special. She's crowd control plus DPS, right? So let's talk about the crowd control bit. At M3, attack plus 25 seconds, immediately fire harpoons at up to 4 enemies for 8 seconds. And these are the highest weight enemies, binding them for 8 seconds and dealing damage every second. At first glance, you're like, oh, so it's like 1.3k damage per second to all 4 enemies. Don't forget, this is physical damage. Yes, she can bypass some defense if the enemy has like enough weight, but trust me, it is not a lot. Second of all, 8-second bind. You might say, oh, that's really nice, isn't it? Actually, if you really think about it, 8-second bind seems good. There's a 30-second cooldown, 8 seconds, and only binds 4 enemies. You know who's also good at binding? Angelina is also, like, she's not binding, but she slows the enemy down. If you're doing the stall strategy, Angelina, like, especially if you already have Angelina leveled up, you don't have to use the resources to level up Rosa again, do you? Second of all, this is also included in my speculation, but because it is possible, I will still mention it. Let's go to all the operators that are coming. Ignore Phantom W Weedy. So assuming my guess was right that they want to put W and Weedy banner towards like later date, just putting Rosa banner in now does not actually work. It's not enough. They have to put in Suzuran. I doubt they'll put out Thorn because Thorn was a summer event rerun, so Obsidian Fest rerun. I doubt they'll put out summer event in winter, but let's say Suzuran. Suzuran, I will tell you, is way better at slowing a whole bunch of enemies. She can slow every single enemy in a huge area, also increasing their damage taken by 40%. So, Rosa can deal damage, can slow 4 enemies. Suzuran can slow a whole bunch of enemies, also attacking, like increase the damage dealt to them. Technically speaking, you can use them in similar ways, like stalling strategy. Maybe their placement would be a little bit different because of their range difference, but Suzuran covers a bigger area, can stall more enemies at the same time. The damage potential with Suzuran is also higher because you already have a lot of damaged operators. You have Silver Ash, you have Extra, you have AFL, you have a lot of them. Do you really need Rosa as your extra damage? Because don't forget, when her skill is not activated, 2.4 seconds per shot. That is not a lot. That is not a lot of damage per second. She's not a damage dealer mainly. She is fine at damage dealing, and she's not the best at crown control. She's in between. So if you have either already leveled up Angelina or feature Suzuran or other stall operators, you don't really need Suzuran. Personally speaking, with my Chinese account, I rarely, Rosa, not Suzuran. God damn it. Okay, I rarely use Rosa after I got Suzuran, just because Suzuran does the job anyway. Also, I already have Angelina anyway. Angelina, Suzuran does the job. Pretty much everything dies before them. And if you're thinking like, oh, maybe I can use her in CC, like there are some heavy enemies in CC, she might come in handy. No, because the 8-second bind, let's say CC beta, the butcher guys, let's say you're trying to take high risk CC. With those butchers so buffed up, Rosa can't kill them in time. The 8-second bind isn't even enough. The initial stall strategy that people were doing was way beyond slowing down them for 8 seconds. Rosa's 8 second doesn't do enough. People has already tested it in the Chinese server, and I can pretty much assure you I think that's probably right. It sounds right to me as well. So just in general, she's fine, but she's not like a must pull. And why would I recommend not pulling? Third reason, we still go back to the speculation. Suzuran might be coming. She's very good. Phantom after that will be coming. Even though you don't want any of these. Literally, they are giving us more time to save up Orundum for W and Weedy. So do you want W and Weedy or do you want Rosa right now? That's another obvious question for a lot of people. You obviously want W because she's limited, right? And so generally speaking, I would recommend most of us to pull like at most a guaranteed 5-star. If you get like a 6-star, just 10 pull in and probably just leave Rosa alone. Unless you're a whale or you really think that she looks really nice. Like she does look pretty nice. Okay, I'm not gonna deny that. But if you want like a really strong character, or you want like someone like, you know, you're not gonna pull her because she's OP. She's unique, too unique to be replaced. You're not gonna pull her for that reason because there's literally no situation that Rosa becomes a must. And she will not be the tier 0, if you guys believe in such things as tier list. She will not be the tier 0 operators or tier 1 operators anytime soon. That's it for the video. I know there are still 5-star operators, but I think those, I don't really need to talk about them because it's a guy. I don't want to talk about it. See ya!